So today we're going to be going over some games from a Plat jungler. I think your goal was to hit Diamond and eventually Masters, right? You've been getting coaching for
Yeah.
quite a bit of time, but it's pretty much your first couple seasons playing. So tell me a little bit about the game that you played and why you want to review it, if you could.
Yeah, we were playing as a Clash team. There's obviously five of us, and we were on voice comms. Um, I think like I was one of the higher ranks out of the group, and so I kind of felt like as like a jungler, I felt a little bit like obligated to like lead the team a little bit. Maybe not like fully lead them, but like at least have like clear comms, like exactly where Zach was. I was constantly telling them and warning them where Zach was gonna be and who he's probably gonna be ganking. Um, but I just felt like we just I don't know, like I felt like a gap in knowledge when it came to what fights to take, how to fight the fights, etc.
Yeah, and so I think we talked about this before. It's the idea of like being ready for a fight before it happens. What you'll run
Yeah.
into a lot of the time is like you could tell your team exactly what's going to be going on in a game, but it won't change anything if they don't know how to deal with it properly. Right? Like I could say wherever the jungle is, but like, and then the answer in the comms might be, okay, we're good bot lane, we're good bot lane, but it's not really good because somebody either is like overconfident or they don't understand really what's happening on the screen, right? So
Yeah.
it happens a lot, especially in competitive player and solo queue, where you're going to be like communicating something to a player, but it's not going to be communicated either well enough or they're not going to understand exactly what you're getting at. So, yeah, I mean, I understand that. You're playing this game, what, Sejuani into a lot of tanks and then two tanks right here, and then three kind of champions that keep you at range, right?
Yeah.
And, in terms of where you're pathing to, right? Like, this is Jin Karma, this is Caitlyn Leona. It's pretty
Yeah.
volatile, I think. Uh,
Yeah.
but you can also just play for a reset on your bot side, and then this is Mel brand that's pretty non-interactive, and then top lane is non-interactive as well. Personally, I think that you should always, always, always path to prio or invade, right? So you're not going to be getting prio bot lane. I think it's much better to path top this game because pathing to prio makes it so that you have more options at the end of your clear. But if you have a set plan that you're going to be doing at the end of your clear, for example, you're 100% going to fight bot lane, then that's fine too. And if that's the case, where like you're going to fight bot lane 100%, I would like to get a more active ward so that you can see if Zach is pathing down as well. So if it's going to be a 3v3 or not.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the reason why that does that is so like, okay, let's say you see the Zach is pathing bot and you're like, we don't win the 3v3. Then you can communicate to your bot lane, hey, don't trade at all. Like, just keep your HP
Uh,
high. I'm going to path top lane because I have prio top lane. But let's say Zach is pathing top lane, you get to say, like, hey, I'm going to look for a kill on their bot lane. They have no cleanse and we have Leona Sejuani. Like, just play back on the timer that Zach can be top lane, right? And that
yeah.
starts like before the waves even hit, so that you can tell people how
Yeah.
lanes get set up. With that being
I
said,
see.
I mean, you're just gonna do a pretty standard clear, I guess. This game, you don't see Zach starting Raptors, so and then always as you're playing jungle, I mean, this is why I like having perspective on, but it really doesn't impact you that much. Let's see if you spotted out Zach here. I think you did manage to spot him out right there. So
Yeah.
now, talk me through what your idea was on what to do, because you see both junglers like having towards bot lane. Let's look at the status of bot lane. I mean, what are you thinking of doing right now?
Yeah, so I was telling them at this point to just let them push so I can gank. I knew that Zach was gonna be there, but I think I told you this before in our other coaching sessions that I'm not familiar with matchups, so I don't know whether or not we do win 3v3s. So at this point I was just thinking we fight. I just try to gank early if they let the enemy team push.
Yeah, and so this
Telling
is
them
this
that.
is why playing lane is pretty important. So this is an important concept for everybody to know bot lane. This wave right here, it's wave 4, right? It's going to be coming in at 3 minutes. This wave is way more important than level 2 in most matchups. And that's because when you kill these 3 melees, you're getting level 3. Right? And that's
Uh,
with the new XP changes that they did. So let's say hypothetically we were to allow them to push in right here, Kayla and Leona. They're going to lose all of their ground in the lane, right? So they're going to lose all of this ground, and now you can get invaded. So that's why it's a little bit dangerous, especially because the next wave
oh,
that comes, it's not a cannon wave. So if you want to make a gank happen, this is where you would just be bot lane right now. For example, skip a camp and run bot lane now, so that your team takes these minions and then you immediately go on Jhin and Karma when they're trying to hit level 3 as well. So
oh, I see.
this is the timer to gank bot lane now, like around 3 minutes or maybe like 2:55 after you finish your wolves. Right, that's going to be the timer. You're going to run straight bot lane and you're going to try to pull off the gank, so that when these minions die, like when everybody's trying to hit level 3 ASAP, you're going to come and kill them. But again, when you play,
Okay.
like obviously when you play with people that you don't know how they're going to act, so maybe they just don't know that you hit 3 on this and they might not respect it. But regardless, that is a timer. So if you're not going to be bot lane on that timer, what's the next thing that it shifts to? Because you talked about we don't know if we win 3v3. So there's 3v3 because you're both pathing bot lane, and there's one other objective in the bot side of the map. What is that?
Um,
It's right here, Scuttle.
so yes, yeah.
So
Um,
there's Scuttle as well. So think about this. These are your two options right now, right? You have a third one, which is to skip camps and gank, but it probably won't work, right? But
yeah.
these are your two solid options. And looking at their comp and looking at ours, it's kind of scary to go for either one of them, don't you think?
Yeah.
And that's just going to be something that you learn yourself. So, for example, if you're in this game, don't worry about which option is best, just pick one. And then when you see what
Yeah.
happens, you're going to understand why it happened the way it did. So just pick the 3v3. Try to play the 3v3, but don't just brainlessly go in 3v3. Talk about what you want to happen. For example, they have no heal on Karma. Like, just be like, all right, we're going to go on Karma. We're going to try to one shot her. And then we're going to play out afterwards. Or
Yeah.
when they walk up to hit this CS and you think about like the cannon minion, that's when we're going to go in, or whatever it might be. So don't do it brainlessly, but do pick one. Or we're going to try to fight
Yeah.
Scuttle, right? And if it doesn't work out, then you get to learn what champion's strengths and weaknesses are, and you get to learn more about the matchup. With that being said, this is why early game is really important as a jungler, because I want to think about it. Every subsequent sequence of your clearing, if the game doesn't fall apart, is going to involve you clearing downwards. And the whole
Yeah.
entire idea of that is that your tempo is bot lane and your negative tempo play is top lane. And what I mean by negative tempo is that you're going to be stacking time that your camps are up if you're going to be ganking top lane. Or you're going to be taking a reset so that you could hit top lane first, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
have to invest time in order to make a tempo play top lane, which means that it's negative tempo. That doesn't mean it's bad, but it means that it's negative tempo. So if you're going to go to the top side of the map, that's something that you should be talking with your top laner with. Like, let's say you don't want to fight the scuttle, you don't want to fight the 3v3. You're going to shift through mid and take the top scuttle, or you're going to recall and go top scuttle, right?
Mm.
And then challenge
Yeah.
the Zac on his second, what do you call it, camp spawn, which is okay. Looking at bot lane right now, right? Like, we should always be looking. It seems like your bot lane heavy traded, and this is like something that I'm not gonna say that it's your fault, because it's never one
Mm.
person's fault in a team game, and it's different than solo queue. Like, if your solo queue teammates did this, it'd be one thing. But I think
Yeah.
at this point, it's just you gotta call these people off from doing this because it doesn't make sense.
Mm.
People will always go for what feels right or what looks good if you don't offer them a better play. So as a jungler
Yeah.
and as a support or as a AD carry or whatever role, a lot of your job falls on like offering up better plays to people, because people won't be excited to try to make a play happen if they think it won't work, or if it involves them just sitting and farming. But if you can like
Right.
give them a guaranteed value out of it, that's good as well. So right here, your
Yeah.
decision is to path your bot lane. Uh, I'm not really a fan of this pathing. At this point, you should just go hit the scuttle and then double scuttle the Zac.
Yeah.
You could like hop over this wall. And again, it might be worth considering like I think it might be worth to skip your red buff on this clear. Do Raptors, Krugs, right? And then
Yeah.
go over the wall so that you can go over the wall and move fast. Because once you recognize that the
Mm,
bot play isn't a thing, you're going to be trying to
yeah.
get back on the other side of the map as fast as possible. So if you're to reset here and go top lane, it's fine. But otherwise, probably going Raptors into your Krugs makes a lot more sense. And then doing red buff afterwards, queuing over the wall, or whatever your dash is called. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's a little bit from the early game, but there's nothing like really, really hugely major that you messed up on. It's just missed opportunities. And I want you to
Yeah.
also, what I talked about when I coached the other jungle player, is the idea of vision proximity, right? So you're clearing your camps, you're clearing your camps. Look at the mini map right now and tell me every time, or you should be able to tell me every time a laner moves out from this bubble. And when they
Mm,
do,
okay.
they're likely doing what?
Um,
There's only
not
one.
sure.
There's only one thing that people do when they leave their lane that early.
Or
They're
ganking another lane or warding.
they're warding, right? So let's
Yeah.
say I'm looking on minimap and this Karma doesn't move from this area the entire time on the minimap.
Yeah.
Where are her possible wards? Potentially here, but we didn't see her walk through
Yeah.
river, right? So probably just here, probably here or here. So keep that in your head, right? I didn't see Mel move to my Raptors. That means Mel does not have a ward on my Raptors, right?
Mm,
Cho'Gath has not moved from his lane. That means he probably has a ward here or has a ward here. Probably not here because it's hard to get there,
mm,
right? So consequentially, right? Let's say you find out that this Cho'Gath warded here. That means that resetting into a top gank would only work if you're aware of that information, so that you could avoid that vision.
mm.
Because you're going to do it in lane, right? So
Yeah.
for example, having like just having a game plan is going to make your laners be able to play the game a lot easier, and the communication will go a lot better, right? So the moment that you see Zac clearing bot lane, you evaluate
Yeah.
those two options I'd said before. You look at 3v3, you look at scuttle, and you look at like uh, skipping your camps, right? Those are your three
Mm,
options. And if you don't like any of those options, and you find a new one, constantly be thinking
yeah.
of what's next, right? The new one would be, hey, Aatrox, right? Keep this guy in lane, and then as soon as I'm resetting, let the wave push back in, and we'll go for a gank on him. And then you tell your bot lane,
Yeah.
hey, I'm not going to be helping you guys out bot lane. So if you want a 2v2, it's a 2v3, and if you guys choose to die and lose the game, I mean, go right on ahead. But we have a game plan on how to win if you want to win with us, right? You can only offer people the
Mm,
option of following the game plan. So we'll go ahead and skip a little bit ahead. Uh, and generally, right, there's a lot of ways to win with comps, but what I would recommend to a lot of people when they're playing jungle, especially if you're playing like a tank champion or a champion that has like really impactful ultimates, like Sejuani and Amumu, like I know you do, is play for two things. Play for bounties, right, if you're behind, and play for cooldowns. So if somebody has flash down, or if somebody has dragon's not really a cooldown, but basically timers, right? Is a better way to put it. So player on flashes, player on timers, like when dragon is spawning, because that's how your champion is like amplified through decisive fights. And then the bounties are obviously to get gold off of you and onto your carries.
yeah.
So at this point, their bot lane doesn't have a bounty. But you're going for this play, huh? All right. You threw your fucking head into this karma, huh? A little bit early on the W usage, on the flail usage. I
Mm.
think you're gonna end up dying here.
I do. I do end up dying.
Yeah. So the one thing I would recommend, again, track cooldowns, right? So we
Yeah.
don't know Karma's mantra W. Do you know how Karma's mantra W works or no?
Not really,
Okay.
but I know she stuns or whatever.
So Karma has three mantra abilities. Her Q, if she uses mantra on it, which is her ultimate, has like a 30-second cooldown. It gets reduced when she hits spells on people, right?
Mm,
So her Q is empowered. it has like a bigger detonation radius and it has a little flame afterwards. Her W empowers the root, right? It roots for a
Mm,
longer amount of time and it heals her a pretty ridiculous amount in the early game. So as you can see, 17% missing HP. And then her shield is
mm,
just like a little bit bigger of a shield and it's on everybody.
mm.
So, with that being said, you haven't seen her use mantra, and like even though it's 7 seconds here, you could basically assume that it's up, right? And this is where like you got to be looking at stuff. If this karma had mantra W, you would have died and you wouldn't have gotten a single kill.
Uh,
So it's better to focus on either killing the Jin or forcing out a
yeah.
summoner from him and holding the wave.
Okay.
And I think technically you overkill the karma if you hit your W on her as well, but like you already wasted your W now. So I think right now is just the time to like get out. Did she have mantra W up when she W'd on you? I don't think she did. Let's see. Yeah, so this guy definitely could have mantra W'd you and he would have lived.
Uh-huh.
So just looking at that, it's kind of hindsighty, but it's always worth it to look at like what they used in a fight and if you can actually re-engage. Because you don't
Yeah.
see low HP bars and say, okay, I can kill them here for sure. The logic is, let me track their cooldowns and see if I can actually win a fight here.
Mm,
Like save your flash to flash onto the Jin or whatever it might be, right?
yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, it's not the worst thing that could happen. Your bot ends up getting the wave held, but Zach ends up getting a kill and an assist, and he's going to get double scuttle. So that's pretty bad. And then you just got to be aware of this guy ganking mid now, because if he ganks mid and he gets it off, it's just like a full heaven first clear for the Zach. Yeah, I mean, he's just running straight to the scuttle. And then
Yeah.
it's your option if you want to fight the scuttle or not, right? This
Yeah.
would be a
I was
time.
telling
What
them.
dragon is this? This is Ocean Dragon. You could easily just try to do this on spawn if you wanted to, because this
Mm,
is a really impactful first dragon. Taking it at 5 minutes is like super important. You'll see if you watch Pearl play. Uh, Taking dragons at 5 minutes is like standard there. And the reason why is because
really?
Otacon is so important to spawn. Well, if your comp functions around dragon, or if it's a strong dragon, yeah. When Otacon spawns at 20 minutes, right? And every dragon takes 5 minutes to spawn. So if you take 5 minutes, then you have the second one at 10, you have the third one at 15, and 20 minutes. So you see how your dragon lines up exactly with Otacon spawn?
Oh, yeah.
So now you can leverage both of those being up now. And of course, it's going to be like a little bit later. It's not going to be, you're not taking them at exact 5 minute intervals. Like it'll probably be spawning at like 24 minutes or 23 minutes. But that still sets
Yeah.
up like a really good game state for you. Because think about the sequence of objectives that you're taking, and this is why it's strong in pro play. Let's say you take Otacon, right? And then you get Soul, and then you get Baron at 25 minutes. And then the game's just
Right.
over, right? You have so much combat power, and the game's just over. And
I
if
see.
you're behind, it helps you stay in the game as well, as long as you're not losing anything.
Mm,
So what you would have
mm,
done is head to this dragon immediately on spawn. If your champ is fast at doing it, I'm not sure how fast Sejuani does it, right? Uh,
mm,
you would have done it, and then if the Zac invades your top camps, he's really screwing over his clear because Zac doesn't have a good time in like invading, and he hasn't reset yet. If it was like a good invading champion, maybe you wouldn't do it. It'd probably be a terrible idea to do. But Zac probably wouldn't want to invade your camps here because he's Zac, and they're not going to get any information about you doing this dragon. So you'd be able to easily do it over the wall. Then,
mm.
as your bot camps spawn here and here, you're going to recycle, but this time you're going to move up top lane.
Mm,
So that now you're going to be able to shift back to the lane where you could probably get a kill in, because it's going to be pretty hard to kill the bot lane now. Well, with that being said, like I said, with your clear path, yeah, I mean, with your clear path, you're always going to be having negative tempo on top side. You see how you're too pressured to do your camps rather than to help
mhm,
this guy top lane right now, because your camps
mhm.
are spawning and you have to go do them. So this is why it's important that you path towards prio, because it keeps your options open. And you have open options even though you're pathing towards like a lane that ended up dying 2v2. It's just that you made a pretty poor decision at the end of it.
Mm.
You didn't take the initiative of recalling or cheating and skipping camps or whatever it might be. I'm not sure what's going on here. Oh,
Oh, I kept disconnecting throughout the game too because my internet's garbage, but
okay. That kind of sucks.
it's so I can say that afterwards.
Yeah, we can skip ahead a little bit then because, I mean, it kind of sucks what happened. You're gonna hit 6 off of like some of the grubs right here. So I'm assuming you're gonna go for grub spawn and you're trading that for
Yeah,
dragon. And
yeah.
I don't agree with it, but it's all right. It'll work. You're at least cross mapping, which is important to learn. And we'll see if they punish it, so that we can talk about why it's bad. But always be on the
Okay.
lookout as a jungle, like for some impactful early dragons. Ocean Dragon is a super impactful dragon early on, because if you take it 5 minutes,
Mm.
it helps your laner so much. Every single trade, it heals up. Uh, you get 2% missing health every 5 seconds. That's like so insane for laning, right?
What dragons are good for like what like you said like there's like
Well, they're
some
all
dragons that are really
conditional,
good.
right? So
Uh,
let's say if your team is going to be armor stacking early, Mountain is going to be really,
mm,
really strong, right? If you have champions that have, like, attack damage modifiers, Infernal will get the most value, but it's not even a really good early dragon. Like, Infernal dragons are kind of weak compared to them all.
oh, okay.
Hextech is really, really, really strong as a single dragon and also as a soul, right? And then like the strongest early dragon to take is probably just Ocean Dragon because it helps your laner so much. But Hextech is up there. What's the other one? There's Chemtech, there's Mountain, and there's Cloud. And Cloud is really OP as well. So it'd be like Ocean is super strong, Cloud is super strong, Hextech is super strong. The rest of them I would say are conditional. But think about it, this gives you like sustain, right? This gives you MS, so movement speed, and this gives you attack speed and ability haste. So those are always going to be good, right?
Mm,
The other dragons kind of give you more conditional stats. They give you like armor, magic resist. One of them gives tenacity, which can be super OP in certain games, but like it's not really necessarily always going to be strong. I'm not sure what
yeah.
this guy was doing. Does he not have W up? Did he DC here?
Oh, maybe.
Oh no, he's not DC.
No.
Well, that's gonna happen. Just generally, when you're doing this sort of thing, you're trying to combo somebody without them pressing an ability. Obviously, like Mel can press W, right? So
Uh-huh.
you gotta buffer your CC properly. As soon as you see this stun hit, press your R.
Mm, I see. Okay.
And we talked about this, I think, the first time I'd coached you when you were talking about playing Lee
Yeah.
Sin with the Rakan W and everything. You can't
Yeah.
react to the CC. You have to anticipate it. Have the conditions in your mind of like, hey, if this brand stun hits, I'm gonna cast my ulti right
Yeah.
away. Because the problem here is you flash to get in range, which is good. It's like amazing, right? Like you recognize that you should CC this person while they're stunned, but they have a timer to press W right there.
Uh,
They have a timer to press flash right here. Like it's not a true combo if that makes sense. They have a time to react. And so whatever champ you're playing, it's important to recognize that there are certain moments where, well, there are certain abilities in your kit that work under certain conditions. Like Sejuani QR is not guaranteed CC, right? Uh,
mm,
like the charge is gonna hit, but it's not gonna guarantee the stun.
right.
You can guarantee the stun through other ways for sure, though. If they don't have flash, like let's say you Q flash or whatever, and then you're using R afterwards. If they don't have a dash or they don't have ability to peel, then yeah, your R is pretty much guaranteed, right? But if they do have flash,
Yeah.
it's easy to dodge. They can just flash it, or they can press W for it to
Right.
melt. So another example is like a Mumu, right? Like when you Q in, you should know when your R is going to be like unflashable from the enemy team reacting to it, like if you R flash or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and watch this game. And at this point, you guys aren't like losing super bad. It's just important that you shift into like, well, I want to accelerate this game because I mean, I don't want to let them just slowly snowball this game out of the way, especially with the dragon stacking.
Yeah.
So you got to
Right.
identify what lane that you can accelerate through. Seeing that bot lane has no summoners right now, I would say every time my R is up, I'm coming bot lane. And since
Mm.
your R isn't up, it's kind of hard to look for this play. Although your Leona really should just be casting R here. Yeah, I think you actually killed this Karma. I don't know why Leona didn't cast R on this guy. So like right here, Leona uses her abilities, right? You wait for Leona's abilities to be up, right? Her
Mm.
E is going to be like halfway done, maybe 4 seconds, and then that's when you go in. You
Okay.
wait for the
Yeah.
Leona to press R here. When Leona presses R, then you dash in, you're going to get the stun guaranteed. I can't believe you didn't kill her here. Oh man, you do kill her. Nice. Alright,
It
and
was a close one.
yep. And then you're like, let's say you had better conditions with bot lane, you would look to dive them here. Because you don't, your bot lane should just reset. Back off here. Zach has a potential to gank this guy, so he needs to play back. I
Yeah.
don't know why he's staying with 0 mana, but it's chill.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Chillington. So because the fact that your Caitlyn is staying with 0 mana, you guys lose this dragon here. Right? And
Yeah.
this is a
Yeah.
really
We're
important thing
trying
to
to.
recognize that, like, you, again, you're not going to tell people how to play, but you're offering them an option on how to play. And so if you're
Yeah.
identifying, hey, we're going to look for this bot gank, and then immediately we're going to go for this dragon afterwards, we go reset or whatever, it's going to change the way that he
Yeah.
plays the game, potentially. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But at least you're giving them the
Yeah.
opportunity. Because this fight becomes really, really difficult at this point, having no mana on Caitlyn. He's going to end up dying, right? Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he's usually really good about listening to comms, but both Clash games, he, was just doing whatever he wanted, didn't listen to anything. He just said he was in a bad mood, so
I mean, that's
I
gonna
don't know.
happen in solo queue as well. But
Yeah,
my feedback isn't like he's inting. My feedback is like always give the option for the best play. And if your team doesn't want to participate, then you can do whatever, right? Like you can't
yeah,
do anything about that at that point. And then obviously
yeah.
bot lane went badly. Their flashes are coming up now. So just gank top lane. I mean, if you would have ganked top lane from the start of this game, it would have been probably really easy, right? Because you guys have so much CC to deal with the Cho'Gath, but at this point, the Cho'Gath might have too much HP to die, which is kind of
So I have a quick question about that. Because that's actually something that I wrestle with when I'm thinking about like top lane and I'm prioring bot. Like, I have a hard time understanding when should I gank top because the times that I reset and went to my top side, he was pushed in, for example. I know that earlier you were in the coaching this VOD review. You were talking about how my bot lane like lost the 2v2, so I should have just like prio top, or I could have prio top at that point. So what like determines that? Like, is it that knowing the matchup and knowing that my bot lane's gonna be just losing, then I'm like focusing on top
so
now,
if
or
you remember what I talked about tempo and negative tempo, right? So
yeah,
what I mean by that, who gets to control where the top wave goes? The person who
the
wins the
top
top lane,
wave.
right?
Yeah,
So whoever's winning top lane is gonna, or whoever has a more active wave clear is gonna be able to influence the wave. So how important are waves to ganking? They're the most important thing because there's no reason for Cho'Gath to walk up if there's no minions to kill, right? He's just gonna sit under tower,
yeah,
and if Aatrox, whatever, inversely true. So with that being said, if Caitlyn Leona cannot control the bot wave, does that mean that they're going to be able to control the vision which Karma and Jin get? Are they going to be able to stop Karma from walking here and warding? Are they going to be able to stop Karma and Jin
mm,
from just letting the wave come back into them?
right,
Are they going to
right,
be able to stop the Karma and Jin from walking into your jungle and trying to kill you on your first clear? They can't, right? Just because the fact
yeah,
that these champions have a lot of priority, they have a lot of wave clear. So that's why pathing to priority is super important because if you're playing with somebody who you're in comms with, right? Like I said, just tell the Aatrox where you want the wave to be and he can put it there. He has the ability to, right? So
yeah,
he
yeah,
crashes the first wave. For example, let's say you're pathing top lane, right? Potentially.
yeah,
He crashes his first wave. He pushes it. He pushes the second wave, right? Now he
Mm,
just lets this wave come in, and he holds the wave. And what can Cho'Gath do if you're top lane here and Zac is bot lane?
mm,
Isn't he just dead?
yeah.
Because he couldn't ward here, he couldn't ward here, and if he doesn't want to drop 2 waves, he's gonna have to respect the gank.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So that's what I mean about like knowing when to path bot or top. There are some games where this will win you the game. Like in this game, it's a good option. I wouldn't say you're gonna win the game because of it, right? But it's definitely a good option. But there are some games where you need to go bot lane to stabilize it. So like this lane, if Jin and Karma are really, really good, you would still have to pad bot lane here if you're playing in like Challenger, because you have to help the Leon on the Caitlyn lane, or else the game is just over.
Yeah.
They're gonna lose 4 plates,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it's really screwed up.
Right. And that's kind of what I struggle with too. Like if like top lane, you know, sometimes there's times where I'm trying to figure out still which lane to strong lane. And, you know, I was told by, you know, other coaches and, you know, just learning the game, like not to go top at all, just like straight up ignore top if they're like both tanks, like Mundo versus Cho'Gath or something,
So
or Mundo versus
yeah,
Ornn.
I
But
don't think that's real advice, because like if you're playing carry jungle and if you could go gank the top lane matchup early and get a free kill, isn't that just a free kill for you? And it's not putting your top
yeah,
laner ahead necessarily, but it's getting you ahead.
yeah,
And aren't there certain games, like let's say you had a Malphite this game, and this is like Yasuo, and this is like another AD jungle, like Zinzao. Bro, if I have Malphite versus Yas, Zin, Jin, if this guy gets 3 items, the game is over. He's unkillable,
mm,
right? So every single game is different. And the important thing to look at if you're gonna make that decision is, what do you prioritize in a game like this? I think if you get a lead, it's really nice because you then get the initiative to make plays happen on the map, right? So you're going to get items like completed fast, and you're going to have the option to path wherever you want to path. Also, keep in
yeah,
mind, you remember how 5 minutes rolled around and your top camps
yeah,
were spawning and dragon spawned. So when you're pathing
yeah,
top lane, instead of pathing bot lane, you're going to have the dragon spawning by the same time your bot camps are spawning. So you can contest the dragon if the enemy team tries to go for dragon
right.
while still doing your camps. So there's a lot of like different styles of play that you can go for. In my mind, go for the play, just go for one play and learn if it works or not.
Mm,
Because you won't learn the
right.
matchups until you watch you watch them lane, and you also
Yeah,
go for the gank and see if it works. If it doesn't
right.
work, then you understand why it didn't work. Like bot lane here, you understand why it didn't work. I talked to you about it, right? Because
Hmm.
I told you like you want to be here earlier. You want to sprint here bot lane like right now if you're gonna gank it, so that you could be here when they hit 3. And if you're gonna go for the 3v3, you need to make sure you're winning the 3v3 and tell your bot lane not to trade or to have good conditions for a 3v3. When you're playing at like a high level, a word that gets tossed around a lot is conditions. Like how are your conditions bot right here as Caitlyn? Not great, right? Uh, like it's fine, we're farming, but we can't force a play onto them, and we can't stop them from getting vision here. So the conditions for a gank are not very good. Like let's see if they've placed a ward here. They haven't placed a ward here. But hypothetically, Karma can walk up at any time and go place a ward. And you see how they actually fought here on the timer that I was talking about, where they hit level 3.
Yeah,
So if you were
yeah.
there, you could have made a gank happen. But again, this is all going over stuff I already should have went over. Your original question is, when should you path top? When should you path bot lane? It goes back to what is game losing for you, and what can you min max basically. You can min max going top this game for sure. You can tell your bot lane just to play safe, because again, these players are not going to be executing the lane perfectly, right? Uh, you could just tell the Caitlyn just to farm up a little bit, and you'll be back bot lane at some point to help her out. Because the Jin has no cleanse, the Karma has no cleanse. One of them is gonna die at one point if you guys just play together, right?
Hmm.
So always look at it like that. Also, a super easy way to punish something like this is like, so how do you punish cleanse? you use your stuns on somebody, right?
Mhm.
What makes a fight like really really winning when you have a champion with stuns? Like if I pick Lissandra mid, I always play with numbers. When you play Leona, you always play with numbers. And the reason why is because if you have a person stunned, it's like let's say it's a 3v2, right? And you stun the Karma. What does the fight turn into?
Like a 3v1.
Turns into a 3v1, right? But let's say it's a 3v3 and I stun the Karma. It's still a 3v2. And I like a 3v1 way
Mm.
more than a 3v2. I don't know about you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why you always like to play with numbers with champs that have stuns, because you get the ability to just wail on somebody while they're stunned or wail on the other person while the other person's stunned. And you don't have to worry about Zach coming in for a gank because he's going to be top lane clearing his camps. So that's also another thing to look
Mm.
at. Like, when do you want to be bot lane? Do you want to be bot lane when it's 3v3, or do you want to be bot lane when it's uneven numbers, right?
Right, right.
So always look at that, and when you ask me like how do you get better at it, just try different things, right? Like say, okay, this game I'm gonna path top lane, and because my top laner should have prio, and I want his wave to be here, and you explain that, and that's why like Clash or doing with people can be helpful to a certain extent. But like also playing solo queue is nice to a certain extent because you're not gonna get those games every time where your top laner plays the game properly or your bot laner plays properly. So that's why solo queue is challenging. You need to be very adaptive to what's going on. Which is why, like,
Right.
again, if I was playing in Challenger and my Sejuani was doing this, which Sejuani should path bot here, right? See if the Zac is doing
Mhm.
anything and then make a decision based off that, right? If my Sejuani did this and saw this happen bot lane, she would immediately recall or she would go top lane, right here after taking Scuttle. She would not come bot lane,
Mm.
right? Which is what keeps them in Challenger. They're adaptive, they're recognizing what's going on, and they're like making the best option out of what, like the best choice out of what's given to them. So, I think that's pretty much, we went over a lot for early game. I think there's a lot of good options to
Yeah.
talk about. Let's skip back ahead
Yeah.
because you talked about team fighting a little bit when I'd asked you previously. Uh, and again, when you're looking at team fights, always think about like how your champions work together. You have Leona Sejuani; those work together like super super well. But again, numbers are super important, right? So
Mhm.
you guys gave this dragon, or you tried to fight it. I didn't actually watch this one. So you tried to fight the second dragon spawn. This was the one that Caitlyn got picked. No? Oh yeah, it was. Okay. Now I remember that. And let's see this top fight that you pull Herald. So this is one thing I don't like, right? So Herald isn't spawning right now, but we recognize that Caitlyn doesn't have good conditions to fight the dragon, so just give it and play on the top side of the map right now. And then you can start Herald on spawn and you don't have to worry about like your Caitlyn being dead and your side wave not being pushed in properly. Right, so just recognizing that, even though you're really happy to fight right now, your teammate kind of ruined it for you, so you need to make the best out of a play. But waiting for this dragon to die and then move up, that means that like you just lost 30 seconds of time.
Mm.
You see Zac bot lane, so you decide to like go invade a little bit, which is alright. And then this is exactly what I talked about before. So look on the mini map right here. You see Cho'Gath? He disappears in the fog and he shows up from here. So where do you think he went?
Toward.
He has a ward here, yeah? You didn't see a ward
Mhm.
pop up there, did you?
No.
Which means this isn't warded, but this is warded. And you see how like using just deduction, you're able to tell that stuff. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could go sneak into Tribrush and maybe look for a gank on him, potentially. Let's see if what I said was true. Yep, right here. And then you pull the Herald. Your Leona's walking on a base the same time that Karma is. Who placed that ward? It's important to know. Who placed that ward right there? Who placed it?
Mhm.
Oh, oh.
I think
It can only be
I think
one person.
it's mid lane.
Yeah, it's mid lane, right? So now you know Mel is in this area.
Yeah.
And the reason why you know that is because jungler has this one, this guy has this one, and this guy has this one. Right? They have red trinket, they're not going to have yellow trinket. So you pull it, you know Mel is in that area. You then see Mel up here. Let's look at how the fight develops here. Alright, so you see how your top laner is shifting down? This is where you shift up to meet him so that you connect the two. Right? Because you know Mel has the potential to loop here or loop here. So you don't want to get pincered either direction. You want to group with your team. Right? He gets engaged on here, and you guys aren't exactly in the best position to help him out, but you're able to shift over and help him. Really good job. Let's see. I think you did not need to press R on Zach here, but we'll watch it and figure it out.
Yeah, I don't really know how her ult works. I just assumed it would get like everybody, but
No, it's a single target
figuring it
stun,
out.
and then it follows up with a slow afterwards, and I think it applies your passive on it. It might not actually. Where's your passive? Yeah, I don't think it actually does. But either way, Zach ends up dying here, which is good. You guys get the Herald. And then think about what you want to get with the Herald, right? Like, always have intention. We got Herald, what are we getting with it? What's going to make us win the game a little bit more? Right now, like, Aatrox is seeming like a good option to play. So let's try to give him more gold. Or, right, your other option is, third dragon is spawning soon. Let's try to use it to help us get this dragon in some way. Whether that be get gold onto Aatrox so that he's stronger at the fight, or use it in a side lane, or mid lane, or whatever it might be, right? So, so yeah, I mean, it's just going to be running around the map, getting camps, making plays whenever your ulti's up. So whenever your ulti is up on these champions, you don't want to be clearing your camps. Just go fight. Go reset, get on good conditions, and go fight. So you see when you're staying on map to farm when your ulti's down, it's not really great, right? Just go recall. If you have an item that you need gold for, you can farm for it, right? But just get as much gold, get as strong as you can possibly. Use your ulti in a sequence, and then recall, farm your camps when you're weak. And then when you get strong,
I see.
recall, get your item, fight when you're strong. You take turns, right?
Yeah.
You're like not getting value out of your ulti for like 40 seconds because of what you did there. In some games, it doesn't matter. Some games, it matters. But like that could be Jin's flash that you force out, or somebody else's flash you force out. So right here, you go for a rift play before dragon is spawning, but your bot lane is dead. So that's a really big mistake there. But you're able to take the tower anyways, which I mean is fine. But your bot lane is not going to be here yet, so you can't pressure with it. See, Zach is in your jungle here. Checking your red is pretty natural. And then just a little heads up, when you're playing with Zach, try to save your Q.
Okay.
Because you see how you CC him, but like the CC didn't do anything. And it doesn't do a lot of damage. You could use it to like hit him right now, and then hit the blast plant so that he's pushed back into your team. And then maybe he has to like flash out. It's like you get a little bit more value out of it. So again, the way that this dragon seems is going to be like really hard to contest, but they run into your jungle for zero reason, and this becomes a huge fight for you. Alright, so look at your ulti here. It's not really ideal. You're just throwing it at a person in melee range. So like right now, you see how Zach does this? If your brand doesn't hit the stun, the guy's gonna flash forward on you with his Q, and he's gonna root both of you. And right now, you see how they're all clumped? Just toss your R in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just toss your R at the Karma, because it either hits Karma or it hits Jin, right? So just toss that shit. And then eventually you see how they're like all running out through here. Just throw it here. If it hits the Jin, good. If it doesn't hit the Jin, it's still gonna force out Karma's flash. Even if she flashes, she probably dies, and the Zac is probably gonna have to flash out too. But then you wait a little bit too long, and now it just goes on the Zac. Oh my god, Mel, what are you doing? She went melee range on you guys. Alright, so the dragon is contestable for sure now. Nice, nice. Oh god, guys. What is going on? Oh my god. This is very poor management. Alright, this is just for VOD review purposes. Doesn't really apply that much in this game.
Yeah.
Caitlyn headshot, right? That was like 300 damage. You can sync that up with your burst so that you get the dragon every time. Jin also has 4-shot here, so you gotta be careful though, because Jin 4-shot deals a lot of damage to it as well. Also brand passive, like smite it now. Yep, and you got it. Karma's just solo killing your mid laner. Come on, Caitlyn. You got this. I believe in you. Oh, you took the kill! No! Why'd you do that for? And yeah, this Otacon buff is super, super, super strong, by the way. It's incredibly strong. So I prioritize it every time it spawns.
Someone told me that Otacon's useless, but I'm assuming that's not the case.
No, Otacon is OP. The
Okay.
the active on it is insane. Like when you kill somebody and it
Okay.
does a little afterwards, it slows them.
Yeah.
It's just too strong right now. And the XP is really good. Like any objective that gives you XP. Obviously, you're not sacking like 3 towers for it, but like Otacon is super, super important to go for.
Okay.
Because there's very few combat buffs in the game with how they nerf the dragons. A lot of the dragons aren't necessarily like strong combat dragons anymore. Some of them are. But like their out of combat strength is much stronger than their actual in combat strength. Like Ocean Dragon is a lot stronger out of combat than it is in combat. Well, in laning rather. Hey, just press R. What's going on here? We know the Karma has no flash, yeah? We saw it. Just cast it. I mean, what's the hesitation?
Yeah, I mean, this is like my 4th time playing this champion, but I guess, like, I don't know, I'm really freaking butt at her.
No, you're not butt at her. I just want to know what you're thinking of right now. Because there's something that you're thinking of that's making you not press R. So I'm trying to figure out what that
Let
is.
me see. There's me, Leona, Brand. I think the fact that, like, I didn't know where their entire team was.
You just saw Jin, no? I guess you didn't see Zac yet? But I think it's fine, right? Like, you kill Karma 100% here.
Yeah, I guess so. Zach was mid.
You didn't see Zac yet, so, like, at this point you can throw it, because you saw Zac mid.
Yeah.
Flash. Oh. Goodbye. We flashed late. Oh my god, the Zac trolled. Alright, we're backseat gaming the Caitlyn. Oh, we started the Otacon? I'm not really happy with that. Huge, huge ulti from your Leona.
Yeah.
This kind of sucks though. You don't have the time to take the Otacon. But you don't have the time to recall
Oh, they're
either.
just pushing.
Probably should have just done it anyways. But yeah, when it comes down to mid lane, mid game, late game, it's going to be about pulling the trigger at the right time. It's going to take you a little bit of practice, but I'd rather you try something and understand why it didn't work than to be afraid of something and not try it. Always like let yourself make a mistake, because at the end of the day, like, you don't have a lot of opportunities to get better if you don't make them for yourself. If you just play the game and you play autopilot, you're not going to get better. And the people around you are going to hold you back a lot of the time. And you're going to hold yourself back a lot of the time. So it's best to like put yourself in the position where you should get better by making mistakes. This fight looks kind of sad for you. So again, this guy is your carry, right? This guy is 100% your carry. So you're going to be focused on getting him into the fight ASAP. The Otacon is still at 7k, which means it can't really be bursted, right? Like, it's pretty hard to kill at this point. So, with you taking all this damage here, I would just try to disengage.
Oh, okay.
With that being said, what you did wasn't bad either. Like, this is completely fine as well. I think if your team was on the same page as you, you probably would have killed all of them.
Yeah, we lost. We lost. I don't understand how we lost this fight. Like,
Well,
should I
because
just not have been
your whole
there?
team is behind you in the choke. Like,
Right.
they're all
So
playing
should
on
I
this
have
choke.
just waited?
Yeah, you need to wait a little bit.
Okay.
Like, if your Aatrox can get this position on the enemy, it's really good. If you just waited.
Yeah.
But, like, think about it like this as well. At this point in the game, there are very few buffs that you're going to suicide to try to trade your life for. So don't think about the fight for, like, we need to stop them from getting Otacon. Think about, like, alright, well, like, if they get Otacon, it's really fucked up. But at the end of the day, we still need to play for the fight. Because if we fight, and if we lose Otacon and die, the game is over. If we fight, and
Right.
we
Right.
somehow get Otacon, we still probably didn't win the game. But if we fight and win the fight, there's a possibility we can win because we could still get the Otacon if it doesn't die, and at least we didn't lose the fight.
And I think you're spot on with that. I think I was trying to run straight towards Otacon to try to like smite it rather than, you know,
Play for the fight. Because,
playing for the fight.
yeah, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, there's like 4 realities that might happen here. I mean, more than that, but like, you guys fight, you lose, and you lose the Otacon. You lose out, like the game's over
Yeah.
there, right? You fight, you lose, but you steal the Otacon. You guys are like okay there, but it's still not ideal because you're only 3k gold down. You're not really that far behind. You fight, you win, and you lose Otacon. That's okay. And you fight, you win, and you get Otacon. I mean, that's good for you, right? So just don't take the lower. If you can prevent picking a losing fight, you want to prevent it. Like, Elder Dragon
Yeah.
is a good example of a buff where, like, as soon as you get that buff, it turns the tides of the game. Or Baron
Right. Right.
sometimes.
Right.
Otacon is not going to turn the tides of a fight. Elder does that because it gives you a massive execute, like 25% execute. Baron does that
Right.
because it gives you safety. The enemy cannot end the game for the next 5 minutes. And you have a faster recall. So that, like, you could go steal Baron and your team can recall and go deploy on the map and stop them from ending the game. Right? But Otacon, it's just a buff. Like a dragon. It's like a
Right.
basic dragon. I would treat this, in your mind, think about Otacon like a Dragon Soul. This is a
Okay.
Dragon Soul equivalent. So when you give this up, it's pretty much like giving a weak Dragon Soul to the enemy team. That doesn't mean you lose a game, though. So, yeah. Just play a little bit more patiently. And again, like, you remember when I said your teammates are going to be making mistakes and hold you back sometimes? So you
Yeah.
gotta like let yourself learn from the game. So you see how your Caitlyn like traps here, hits the trap, and this guy's like getting CC'd. What is your team even thinking
Yeah.
by going on him? Like, this guy is fed. He's strong, right?
Yeah.
Your Aatrox has flash over this wall onto the Mel. But he spends the entire fight hitting a Cho'Gath. And this Brand is getting killed behind you.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have to be putting yourself in situations where you can be critical of how to play. You guys still probably like clean up this fight and get a couple kills, but it could have been a lot better. Oh man. Oh, you got the Otacon. And it was like
Yeah,
kind of
we
a
did.
almost winning fight as well. Brand, no! I think he still kills that girl. Does he?
Even though we get wrecked.
So yeah, even though you got the Otacon, it doesn't really change the game that much.
Yeah.
Because it's still just like a Dragon Soul. It's super strong, but it's not like... It happens a lot of
But that was
times.
definitely winnable.
Yeah, I think you guys probably should have won the game there. But like, it happens a lot of times where a buff is super strong, so people invest too much into it. I don't know why I
Yeah.
wrote buff. And then it ends up looking weak. And it's kind of like Rift Herald sometimes. People invest so much into Rift Herald
Yeah.
because it is strong, but then like they invested so much that they're like, guys, we just lost 3 towers for this. Is it really worth it to take Rift Herald? Like,
Right.
we're only gonna get
Right.
1 tower off this Rift Herald. It probably wasn't worth it, even though it's really strong.
That's kind of what happened. Yeah.
And it wasn't even a guarantee. So, Like you guys could full send a Baron right now, probably would be one of your better options.
Mm.
Wait for Caitlyn LDR and then full send the Baron. I guess that would be probably your best option, and wait for Aatrox to have his Shojin. But it's so hard. They have such good poke. Oh, he built Cleaver, Sundered Sky. I mean, that's unfortunate, I think, for you guys, what he built. Yeah, I think the game is really hard to win at this point. Although there's still, like, a win angle. You have to look for, like, tempo plays to go burst the enemy side lane really fast. But Cho'Gath is too tanky. So you have to, like, try to kill Mel. And yeah, you can never check the Baron now because they'll just kill you. They have Jhin traps. Jhin is hitting mid-wave for some reason. Let's see. They should be on it. Oh, they're not on it. I guess that's okay. But yeah, do you have any other questions about what we went over? I mean, I think it comes down to just like what I said before. If I could make like 3 concise points, it's just give your team a good play. So come up with good plays, or just come up with a play in general. Playbook. Playbook, we'll say. Like in, football, right?
No.
You don't know any football? You don't know a slant route? Come on.
No.
All right.
No. I'm a UFC person. I'm not
All
a
right. Well, regardless,
football,
in UFC, you
baseball.
still get a good playbook. Like if this person goes for this counter, look for this, or if this person feints this,
Yeah.
whatever, or I'll feint this and then do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You have a good playbook. So what I mean by that is like, put yourself in a good position at the start of the game. Don't put yourself in a position where you're like having less options than you should have. And then the second thing is like,
Yeah.
let yourself make mistakes because you get to learn from mistakes, but you got to be able to analyze them and be objective about them. So let yourself make mistakes. It's important to make mistakes because it's part of a learning process.
Okay.
Like going to the gym is my best analogy for League. People think that making mistakes in League, in the equivalent example, is like not going to the gym, but it's the opposite.
Right. Right,
Making
right.
mistakes in League terms, in the analogy of going to the gym, is going to the gym on a day that you feel shitty, but still trying to lift the weight. Because you're still getting better. Mentally, you're toughening yourself, right? Even if you're not getting
Yeah.
stronger. It's the same thing with League. Mentally, you're figuring out how the game works, even if you're not getting better at clicking stuff, right?
Yeah.
So think about it like that. Do you have any questions though? These are like the two big objectives I think that you should go over.
Yeah. No, I don't
Okay.
have any further
I mean, I was gonna
questions.
go over 2 VODs for you, but uh, I
Yeah.
think honestly this is fine. We can go over the second VOD at a later point, or we can come up with like a solo queue
Yeah.
VOD. Because you're playing Graves this game. What the hell? Yeah. Well, I hope I was able to help you out. Uh,
Yeah.
again, like it's not going. I told you this from the start. It's not going to be like a steady climb. When you hit a certain rank, sometimes you're going to hit a hurdle, but it's about identifying
Yeah.
what that step is, like right in front of you, that's stopping you from climbing at this moment. Because then
Right.
you'll be able to chill, keep climbing, and then it's going to be another hurdle. So it's always about finding what
Yeah.
is stopping you from playing better at this exact moment. And I think it starts with just getting rid of these generalizations in your head that you have about the game that people have probably coached and told you, and just viewing the game from your perspective about like, what do I think is actually going to work this game? And you just try it, and see if you're right or wrong about
Yeah.
it. Well, thank you for letting me coach you. Hope it was helpful, and I'm going to turn off the recording right now. So